Welcome to SoulScripture. If you are hearing this right now, it is not by chance. It is a spiritual confirmation tailored, timed, and orchestrated by the divine, chosen one. A signal has been released in the heavens, and your soul has heard it. The reason your chest feels heavier, the reason your dreams are becoming more vivid, the reason your spirit has been so restless lately is because something sacred is approaching. Not just a shift, not just a change, but a life-altering meeting between you and the one who has called you from the very beginning. This is the kind of moment that doesn't knock twice. It doesn't come wrapped in comfort or predictability. No, this is the kind of moment that rattles the bones of your old self, that makes the atmosphere around you feel electric, that fills the room, even when no one is speaking. You feel it, don't you? The energy, the pull, that internal knowing that whispers, asterisk, pay attention. This matters. End paid. You didn't stumble onto this message. It found you, and not just through pixels or algorithms. It found you because heaven is targeting you for a divine encounter. You have been summoned, not in panic, not in punishment, but in sacred timing. For years, you felt like something was coming, like your life was preparing for something greater. And now, that preparation is beginning to crystallize. But this is not the kind of meeting you can schedule or plan for in a calendar. This is not about physical location. It's about spiritual position. It's about internal readiness. The divine isn't just showing up at your door, you are being pulled into a cosmic appointment. And in that sacred space, something inside of you will awaken that you didn't even know was dormant. You're not just going to hear truth, you're going to become it. For weeks, maybe even months, you've been sensing that something in your life has been shifting. What used to satisfy you doesn't anymore. The people who once felt familiar suddenly feel foreign. And the life you've been living, though functional, feels like a poor translation of the life you know you're meant for. That's not coincidence. That's the gravitational pull of destiny, dragging you closer to the center of God's purpose for your life. When heaven sends out a signal, only the chosen ones pick it up. That's why others around you might not understand why you've been quiet lately, why you've been pulling back, why your spirit seems like it's somewhere else. You've been tuning in, whether consciously or not, a higher frequency, and that frequency is now demanding your full attention. The divine doesn't operate on our timeline, but when the season is ripe and your soul has been stretched enough, that's when God moves suddenly, swiftly, and what took years to prepare can manifest in moments. You're stepping into that moment. The signs are everywhere. The sense of urgency, the synchronicities, the rising emotion you feel in the middle of the night for no reason. These are spiritual signals, not emotional confusion, and you must treat them as such. This upcoming meeting will not be a conversation. It will be a revelation. It will not be about asking, it will be about remembering who you are, remembering why you were sent here, and most importantly, remembering that everything you've endured, every betrayal, every breakdown, every delay, was all part of the preparation. Chosen one. God didn't forget about you. He was staging the atmosphere for this sacred moment. And now, the divine clock has struck its hour. You are being summoned. Heaven is watching. Hell is trembling. And your spirit, it's standing at attention, because the meeting of a lifetime is no longer in the distance. It's already on its way. This sacred meeting that is drawing near, chosen one. It was written into your destiny long before you took your first breath. You were marked for it. Heaven did not just create you, Heaven appointed you. And this appointment is not with a person, not with a mentor, not even with a version of your past self trying to catch up. This is a divine meeting between your earthly identity and your eternal assignment. It's not random. It's not delayed. It's divine. And now, it's due. Let this truth settle in your spirit. This meeting was never postponed. It was precisely timed. While you were fighting through battles that made no sense, crying out during silent seasons, walking paths you didn't choose, heaven was setting the table. Every tear, every test, every lonely midnight wasn't in vain. It was preparation. You were being calibrated for what's coming. And the moment you felt like giving up was the moment the meeting was getting closer. You see, the divine doesn't rush masterpieces. What God has prepared for you required layers of molding deep soul refinement. You've been in what looked like a holding pattern. But in truth, you were in sacred incubation. God didn't forget you. He hid you because exposure too early would have sabotaged your purpose. And now, as the clouds begin to part and your awareness sharpens, you can feel it. The atmosphere is different. You are being unveiled. This encounter is not just a blessing, it's a birthing asterisk. You're not going to meet God as someone who needs fixing. You're going to meet him as someone finally ready. Ready to rise. Ready to lead. Ready to hold the very power that once scared you. And while it may feel overwhelming, this moment is what your soul has been whispering about for years. That ache for more, that longing for something real, it's all been pointing to this divine appointment. So understand this. You're not waiting for the meeting. The meeting is waiting for you to step into alignment. And you've already begun. Every time you chose obedience over comfort, every time you rejected what didn't resonate with your spirit, every time you dared to believe there was more to your life than survival, you were moving closer to the appointed moment. Heaven took notice, and heaven responded. This isn't a reward for perfection. This is an inheritance for obedience. This is what happens when a chosen one stays faithful through confusion, through betrayal, through the crushing weight of unanswered questions. God didn't need your clarity. He needed your surrender. And now, because you held on barely, maybe, but you held on, your name has been echoed through the spiritual realms. And the meeting you've cried for in secret is about to take place in the open. But know this encounter will cost you. Not money, not validation. It will cost you your former self. Asterisk, the one who doubted too often, the one who settled too quickly, the one who made themselves smaller to survive. That version of you cannot attend this meeting. Only your real self, the one heaven recognizes, can stand in this sacred moment. So let go, not just emotionally, but spiritually. Release the narrative that says you're too broken, you're too late, too flawed. None of that matters in the realm of the divine. What matters is your yes, asterisk, your alignment, your willingness to receive what your spirit already knows belongs to you. Chosen one. God is not just planning to meet you. He is planning to reveal you to yourself, to the world, and to every force that tried to convince you otherwise. This is your appointment with destiny. It was always coming. And now, it's closer than ever. Show up ready, because heaven already is. Chosen one. Can you feel it? The acceleration, the ticking in your spirit that doesn't match the time on any clock. That's not anxiety. That's not impatience. That is your soul recognizing the nearness of something holy. Your spirit has started counting down, even if your mind hasn't fully caught up. You're not waiting anymore, you're approaching. Asterisk. Every moment now feels amplified. Every small choice feels weighty, because the sacred hourglass is nearly empty. The divine meeting you've waited for your entire life is almost here. And when that kind of appointment nears, the spiritual realm gets louder. You may find yourself waking up in the middle of the night for no reason, only to feel a sense of urgency pressing on your chest. You may feel like time is running out, like there's something you need to do, something you can't name. But deeply feel, that's not confusion. That's alignment. Heaven is drawing you closer with each breath. You are being magnetized to your moment. Don't dismiss the signs. Your dreams have become more vivid. Your senses are heightened. You notice patterns, repetitions, numbers, names all pointing towards something you can't see yet, but know is coming. The universe is not subtle when destiny is close. You've started noticing the whispers, those holy nudges that don't come with explanations, only confirmation. And in the background of it all, there is a divine countdown sounding. Prepare, prepare, prepare. And with it comes the strange disorientation. Have you been feeling like your old routines don't fit anymore? Like conversations that once satisfied now drain you? That's not boredom. That's your old reality losing its grip on you. You are shifting frequencies. What once served your survival is now being stripped because it won't survive the altitude of your next assignment. God is doing a final audit on your energy, and anything not aligned is being exposed. This is why people are leaving, why things are falling through, why doors are closing, even when you don't understand why. It's not punishment, it's preparation. God is making room, because your next season has requirements, and the things that were once permissible are now distractions. He's not just getting you ready for the meeting, he's creating sacred space for it. And if that means subtracting what doesn't serve your calling, so be it. Trust the divine detours. You may feel the loneliness intensify, and that too is a sign. The closer you get to destiny, the thinner the crowd becomes. Because where you're going, not everyone can follow. This part of the journey is narrow by design. The spirit needs your full attention, uncluttered by voices who don't speak the language of your calling. Don't grieve the distance. Celebrate the clarity, because this silence, it's holy ground. Now, don't be surprised if your body starts reacting too. You may feel exhausted for no physical reason. You may get waves of energy followed by deep fatigue. Your physical temple is adjusting to the frequency of where you're going. You are not malfunctioning. You are transforming. Asterisk. The countdown isn't just spiritual, it's cellular. Your body is being tuned to hold what's coming. And chosen one. What's coming is not small. This meeting won't just change your mindset, it will rewire your entire internal system. You'll never see yourself the same again. You'll never operate from insecurity again. Because in the presence of divine purpose, false identities cannot survive. You will walk out of this encounter knowing exactly who you are and why you had to survive every battle you never told anyone about. Let me say this plainly. You are on the runway. The engines are ignited. And this countdown is not a metaphor, it's real. Your assignment is being activated in the heavens. And Earth is about to witness the unveiling. Breathe deep. Be still and stay alert. The countdown is nearly over. Your moment is at hand. Chosen one. Before destiny unveils itself, there is always a shedding, a holy unraveling, a a releasing of the false layers that once helped you survive but can no longer come with you. If you're feeling like everything familiar is falling apart, like the things you once leaned on are now slipping through your fingers, understand this: you are not being punished. You are being purified. This is the sacred shedding. It's messy, it's rough, but it's necessary. God is not just preparing you for the divine meeting, He's stripping you of anything that would sabotage it. The version of you that clung to fear, that entertained smallness, that tolerated dysfunction out of habit, that version is being dismantled. Not because it was worthless, but because it was never meant to be permanent. That version helped you endure the wilderness. But now, the wilderness is ending, and the promised land requires a different you. This shedding might feel like loss. It might come with grief, the end of a relationship, the closing of a chapter, the collapse of an identity you worked hard to build. But heaven is saying, let it fall. What you're losing cannot carry the weight of your next glory. Don't resist the release. Don't try to resurrect what God is finally letting die. Even the pain has a purpose. You're not breaking down. You're breaking through. And yes, it may feel disorienting. You might feel exposed, vulnerable, even empty. But that emptiness isn't a void, it's clearance. Asterisk, it's the Spirit making room for something sacred, for something real, something eternal. And the things that once felt safe, those familiar patterns, those protective habits, those comfort zones, they were never your true home. They were your cocoon. And now, your wings are demanding space. You may even notice memories, rising gold wounds resurfacing, not to torment you, but to release the last fragments of pain you unknowingly carried. The meeting ahead cannot coexist with hidden resentment, shame, or unresolved trauma. So don't panic when the past revisits. Look it in the eye, speak truth over it, and then let it go. Your soul cannot step fully into its divine role while dragging chains from yesterday. This is why your appetite is changing. Your taste for drama is vanishing. Your interest in shallow conversations is gone. You find yourself craving silence, solitude, and sacred depth. That's not isolation. That's transformation. Your spirit is detoxing. The shedding is working. You're being emptied so heaven can fill you with fire. Chosen one. Understand this. Every time God calls someone higher, He first requires surrender. Not just surrender of circumstances, but surrender of identity. The ego must loosen its grip. Pride must bow. Control must be laid on the altar. This is the death before the rebirth. And the ones who can endure this sacred unraveling, they emerge unshakable. So, yes, you may feel like everything is coming undone. But that's because the false foundation is finally cracking. You were never meant to build your life on fear, on people-pleasing, on scarcity. And now, as heaven prepares to meet you in the sacred space of alignment, all the false scaffolding must come down. Let it. Let the old go quietly. Let the old self grieve. Then vanish. The pain won't last, but the transformation will. The more you release, the more you rise. And every tear you shed during this season, heaven counts them. Because on the other side of this sacred shedding is revelation. And with it, your power. Don't hold on. Let go. Because the next version of you, the one who walks boldly into divine purpose, can only be born from surrender. This is your spiritual molting. Let it happen. Chosen one. Now that the shedding has begun, something ancient within you is stirring. Can you feel it? It's not just emotion, it's activation. The inner fire is awakening. The embers of your divine power, long buried beneath pain, distraction, and survival, are reigniting. And they are not doing so randomly. They are responding to a spiritual frequency only the chosen can hear. It's heaven's signal that your gifts are needed. Now, you've always felt different, not just misunderstood, but marked. And that feeling wasn't wrong. It was prophecy, waiting for its appointed time. That time is here. What once felt like confusion is now becoming clarity. The dreams you dismissed as imagination are revealing themselves as instruction. The ideas you were too afraid to pursue are turning into divine directives. You are not being inspired, you are being called. And in this calling, your gifts are not optional. They are essential. The way you feel, energy. The way you see patterns, others miss. The way you know things before they're spoken, those were never coincidences. They are part of your spiritual blueprint. Heaven encoded you with abilities that were never meant to be buried. But the world taught you to hide, to shrink, to doubt. That ends now. Because this meeting you're approaching, it's not just about receiving guidance. It's about reclaiming power. The real you, the seer, the healer, the messenger, the warrioress rising from the ashes. And with that, rising comes responsibility. No more hiding behind doubt. No more waiting for permission. The time has come to accept what you are, anointed. And yes, it can feel overwhelming. You may wonder, why me? Why did God choose me to carry so much? See so much? Feel so much? But the answer is simple. Because you can. You were never meant to blend in. You were sent to stand out, not for attention, but for assignment. Asterisk. You were created as a disruption to darkness. A voice in the wilderness. A mirror of divine light in a world addicted to illusion. Chosen one. Your spiritual DNA carries ancient wisdom. You've walked through fires that should have destroyed you. You've survived attacks that had nothing to do with your mistakes and everything to do with your potential. The enemy knew your capacity before you did. And that's why the warfare has been relentless. But what the enemy didn't factor in is this. You kept your fire. Asterisk. Even when all you had was a spark, you protected it. Now, that spark is turning into a flame. You'll notice it in the way you speak, the way you walk into a room, the way people react to your energy without you saying a word. You're not just changing, you're radiating. And no, not everyone will understand it. Some will reject it. Others will try to copy it. But none of that matters. Because the fire within you is not for validation, it's for mission. In the days ahead, you will start to feel divine boldness rise in your chest. You'll speak when you once stayed silent. You'll move when you once hesitated. And you'll create in ways that break chains off others just by being obedient to your soul. This isn't ambition. This is awakening. Let your fire burn. Chosen one. Let it consume every lie that told you you were too much, too strange, too broken. Let it light the path for others still stuck in their darkness. Your flame is sacred, and heaven has decided that now is the moment it will be seen. This is no longer the season of potential. It is the season of power. You were chosen. Now, rise. Chosen one. As your inner fire awakens, and your divine nature begins to take form. Something extraordinary begins to unfold. You start to perceive the world through dual vision. You're not just living in the natural anymore. You are now walking in the spiritual. 2. You're navigating between two realms. And this shift is not just symbolic, it's real. And it's sacred. You are no longer just a participant in the material world. You are becoming a bridge between heaven and earth. At first, this can feel disorienting. One foot still planted in the responsibilities of daily life work, relationships, routines, while the other foot is being drawn into the mystery of the unseen. You may feel like you're being pulled in two directions, like your spirit is stretching in ways that your mind can't explain. That tension you're feeling? It's the cost of spiritual sight. The more awake you become, the more you begin to see what others overlook. You'll notice it in simple things. A conversation that suddenly feels energetically off, even though nothing was said. A place that once felt normal now feels heavy. A person who used to comfort you suddenly feels draining. That's not moodiness, it's discernment. Your spirit is filtering what your mind once tolerated. You're not becoming sensitive. You're becoming spiritually aware. Asterisk, that's the gift. And it's also the challenge, because living between two realms means you must carry divine perception in a world that thrives on illusion. You'll see through smiles. You'll hear the spiritual frequency behind people's words. You'll walk into rooms and feel the atmosphere shift, and sometimes it will shift because of you. Asterisk. That's the weight of carrying the light. You don't just witness transformation, you trigger it. And this is why so many people don't understand you anymore. Why they say you've changed. Why your presence makes some uncomfortable. It's because you're no longer engaging from a purely earthly level. You've been upgraded. You are perceiving reality through the lens of your divine calling. And when you carry heaven's perspective, earth will always resist. But don't let that resistance confuse you. It's confirmation. You're not meant to fit. You're meant to reveal. And the life-changing meeting you're heading into it will finalize this transition. You won't just visit the spiritual realm in dreams or moments of prayer. You'll live from it. You'll be anchored in the unseen even while you move through the scene. This is what the prophets walked in, what the seers carried, what the anointed ones always endured, the tension of being too awake to be normal. 2. Sent to settle. 2. Chosen to ever go back. And yes, there will be moments when you long for simplicity, when you wish you could unknow what you now know. But you can't, and that's a holy thing, because the veil has been torn, and your sight has been anointed. So how do you live like this? You walk with wisdom. You listen before reacting. You pause before speaking. You move when the Spirit leads. Even if logic disagrees, you become a student of both silence and symbolism. Because in this next phase, God won't just speak in sentences. He'll speak in patterns, asterisk, in nudges, in divine orchestration. And your job is to interpret, to follow, to respond. Chosen one. This dual existence is not a burden, it's a sign of maturity. You've graduated. You are no longer operating from impulse, but from insight. You are no longer controlled by what you see with your eyes, but by what you know in your spirit. That's divine leadership. And that's what this divine meeting is sealing inside you. You are now the living intersection of heaven and earth. The world will still see your body, but the heavens know your spirit walks among angels. Own it. Carry it with grace. And never forget, this is the life you were born for. The veil is lifted. You are walking between worlds. Chosen one. As you continue walking between realms, a deep and often misunderstood process begins to unfold within you. The preparation through purging. Your spiritual awakening is not just about illumination, it is also about elimination. Before the divine meeting can take place in its fullness, to your vessel, your mind, your body, your soul must be cleansed. The weight of what you're being called to carry demands a sacred inner space, free from the clutter of yesterday's residue. You may have already felt it. The exhaustion that no amount of sleep fixes. The random bursts of energy followed by sudden emotional heaviness. The urge to cry without knowing why. These are not signs of weakness, they're signals of realignment. Your body and spirit are purging everything that cannot vibrate at the frequency of your next chapter. It's like your soul is undergoing spiritual surgery and heaven is removing what was never meant to stay. During this sacred cleansing, you might feel like you're unraveling, like your moods are swinging without explanation, like old traumas are resurfacing just when you thought they were buried. But don't resist this. You're not being haunted by your past. You're being healed from it. Asterisk. Your body holds memory. Your cells remember pain and now, that energy is being released to make room for divine purpose. The tears, the trembling, the fatigue, it's all part of your rebirth. God is not just renewing your mind. He is renovating your temple. You may feel a sudden aversion to foods, environments, even conversations that once felt normal. That's because your spirit is becoming highly selective. It's no longer willing to consume or tolerate what is misaligned. You may be led to fast, to detox, to shift your sleep, your music, your space. Don't ignore these nudges. They're instructions from the higher realm, preparing you for elevation. You'll also notice this internal purge begin to influence your external life. People you once depended on may begin to drift. Opportunities you prayed for may suddenly vanish. Doors that seemed wide open may now be sealed shut. And while the ego may panic, your spirit will understand. This is divine alignment at work. Not everything you wanted is worthy of where you're going. Heaven is filtering your path. And here's the paradox. This purification doesn't always feel holy. Sometimes it feels like heartbreak. Sometimes it feels like silence. But the most sacred transformations often come in disguise. The fire that refines doesn't ask for your comfort. It asks for your trust. So if your life feels like it's being stripped, if your identity feels like it's unraveling, don't run from it. Lean in. The Spirit is doing a deep work. Chosen one. This phase is sacred beyond words. Heaven is preparing to deposit something into you that requires purity, integrity, and focus. The noise of the world can no longer compete with the whispers of God in your soul. That's why He's turning the volume down on your surroundings. That's why your distractions are losing their power. You're not going crazy. You're getting clean. So what should you do in this time? Be still. Drink water. Rest more. Turn off the noise. Listen to your body. Speak gently to your soul. Honor the process. The divine meeting you are about to experience is weighty. It is sacred, and it requires the strongest version of you mentally, spiritually, physically. This is not just about readiness. It's about resonance. Asterisk. You must resonate with what you are being called to carry. And you will. Because even in the purge, even in the fire, Heaven is with you. The divine hand is guiding every release, every tear, every surrender. Nothing is being wasted. Nothing is being taken without a purpose. You're not being emptied to be left hollow. You're being emptied to be filled. So embrace the cleanse. Chosen one, you're not dying. You're being reborn, and the light entering your body now will shine through eternity. Chosen one, as the purging completes its sacred work and your inner vessel begins to clear, something else begins to rise: urgency. Not the frantic urgency of fear, but the holy urgency of alignment. You begin to feel it in your chest. A weightless pressure. A divine insistence. It's as if heaven is leaning in, whispering, asterisk, now is the time, asterisk, and no matter how much you try to explain it or contain it, you can't ignore it anymore. You are not being dramatic. You are being summoned. Asterisk, this is what it feels like when destiny knocks and doesn't wait for you to open the door. This urgency is the signal that you are moments away from a divine breakthrough. It's the voice of your mission calling your name louder than ever before. The spiritual realm is vibrating with your arrival. Everything around you is accelerating, because your assignment can no longer afford delay. And yes, this energy can feel overwhelming. You may feel restless, unable to sit still, unable to do things that once felt routine. You may even feel a pressure to take action, but not just any action. Strategic, obedient, divinely guided movement. That is what this urgency is pressing into your soul. The Spirit is not telling you to hustle. The Spirit is telling you to align. Asterisk, because the moment is coming where action and opportunity will meet, and when they do, you must be ready to leap. You may notice that resistance is increasing too. Old habits trying to sneak back in. Old voices whispering doubt. That is not a setback. That is spiritual turbulence. You are flying higher. And when aircraft ascend, pressure changes. Don't interpret discomfort as a detour. Interpret it as confirmation. The enemy senses the shift too, and he's throwing everything at you. But what he doesn't realize is that your urgency is your shield. You're not running from something, you're running toward your divine place. You are approaching a spiritual tipping point, a place where waiting is no longer holy, movement is, where reflection gives way to revelation. And revelation demands response. You've been absorbing truth, breaking patterns, hearing the divine voice in secret. Now, the voice is telling you to act. Asterisk, to move, to speak, to build. Asterisk, not recklessly, but intentionally, because your obedience is the currency of your next breakthrough, and it won't look like what you expect. Sometimes, the door that opens won't look divine. Sometimes it will come as a quiet conversation, a random message, an inconvenient opportunity that tugs on your soul. Follow the pull, not the appearance. The divine meeting rarely shows up wrapped in certainty. It shows up wrapped in mystery, just enough to require faith. Chosen one. You don't have to have it all figured out. Heaven is not asking for perfection. Heaven is asking for participation. Asterisk, you don't need all the details to say yes. You just need enough faith to take the next step. The divine urgency within you is not trying to panic you, it's trying to position you. You are being moved by something greater than logic now. You are being led by divine rhythm. This urgency is a sacred alarm clock. It's not just waking you up, it's announcing to the spiritual realm that you are rising. Asterisk, that the one they thought wouldn't make it, the one they underestimated, the one they tried to silence is now stepping into full authority. You can feel it because it's real. Asterisk. The time is no longer near. The time is now. So don't wait for a sign. You are the sign. You are the signal. You are the answer someone has been praying for. When you move, the atmosphere shifts. When you speak, chains break. When you show up in alignment, destiny bends to make room for your presence. Chosen one. The call has gone out. The divine meeting is closer than your next breath. You are being propelled forward by a force you no longer have to question. Step. Now. Chosen one. Everything in your journey has led to this, your sacred rebirth. This is the moment the false layers fall away and the divine design underneath begins to shine. You are not just evolving. You are emerging. Asterisk. This meeting with the divine, it's not just a spiritual experience. It's a holy unveiling. Asterisk. What was hidden in you, buried beneath trauma, fear, and delay, is now being revealed. You're not becoming someone new, you're remembering who you've always been. And this remembering is no small thing. It's a spiritual homecoming. As the old you fades, you may feel raw, exposed, even emotional. That's not weakness, it's the power of identity, reconstruction. The world taught you to wear masks, to survive. But God is stripping them away to show you your true face. The face of someone chosen, someone crowned, someone divine. The divine meeting will not simply fill you with encouragement, it will recode your spirit. You will walk away with new eyes. You will sense truth faster, cut through lies quicker, and respond with supernatural clarity. Your voice will carry new weight. Your presence will demand reverence, not because of arrogance, but because the anointing cannot be hidden. What you are about to carry isn't light, it's holy fire, and it will burn away everything that tried to convince you you were ordinary. With this rebirth comes a level of responsibility. You are no longer being trained, you are being commissioned. Asterisk. This is not preparation season anymore. This is performance season. The stage is set. The heavens are watching. The angels are taking formation. And your soul? It's being reintroduced to power you once only dreamed of. This is where vision turns into manifestation. This is where prayers turn into portals. You'll know you've stepped into this rebirth when your surroundings stop defining you. When your identity is no longer shaped by trauma, approval, or scarcity. When your joy returns, not because everything is perfect, but because you're finally free. Asterisk. Free from the prison of people's expectations. Free from the generational fears. Free from the false scripts that tried to write your story for you. You are rising not just in spirit, but in stature, and your life will reflect it. Doors will open not because you begged, but because you're aligned. Asterisk. Favor will find you in rooms you never applied for. People will sense something different about you, some will be drawn. Others repelled. Don't take either personally. This rebirth creates spiritual contrast. Your very existence will now function like a divine filter, revealing who is truly meant to walk with you in this next season. Do not minimize what's happening. This is not just personal growth. This is prophetic fulfillment. The dreams you had as a child, the ones you were told were too big, too strange, too impossible, are now being dusted off. God is restoring vision to your eyes and fire to your voice. Your steps are not random anymore. They are ordered. You are being positioned for legacy, not just for survival. And yes, it might still hoot. Growth often does. Shedding skin isn't painless. But with every uncomfortable shift comes a deeper alignment. With every divine no comes a more powerful yes. This is the transition between who you thought you were and who you actually are. And the difference is divine. So breathe. Chosen one. Inhale the newness. Exhale the remnants of the old. The rebirth is not a concept. It's a culmination. You are the phoenix. And these ashes are not your end. They are your altar. Asterisk. You are not being transformed into something random. You are being returned to what heaven saw in you all along. The fire didn't come to destroy you. It came to reveal the version of you that cannot be burned. Welcome to your sacred rebirth. Chosen one. Take a breath, because everything you've walked through, every storm you've survived, every tear you've cried in silence, has been preparing you for this divine confirmation. This is the moment. Heaven stamps your soul with the truth you've always carried, but the world tried to bury. You were chosen. You are anointed. And the meeting you've been sensing, praying for, aching toward it, is not a fantasy. It is a spiritual fact. You are standing on holy ground. Even if your feet feel unsure, the atmosphere around you is already shifting, because your energy has changed. You're no longer asking if you're worthy. You know you are. And because of that knowing, doors will open not because you're chasing them, but because your alignment commands them to respond. This is the law of divine resonance. What is meant for you cannot resist you when you show up in truth. Chosen one. This confirmation will not always come in the ways you expect. Sometimes it's not a voice, but a peace. Sometimes it's not a sign in the sky, but the way your body finally exhales after years of spiritual tension. Sometimes it's the way the right words come at the right time, or how your prayers get answered through strange vessels. These aren't coincidences. They are divine nods. God is saying, asterisk, you see, I've been here the whole time. Alive. And now, you are ready. Not perfect. Not without fear. But ready. Because readiness in the kingdom is not about control. It's about surrender. You've surrendered your image to your need to please, your hunger to be understood, and in return, you've received clarity, power, and presence. You are walking into this divine meeting as your true self. Asterisk. And heaven honors authenticity more than performance. So as you prepare to step forward, remember this. You carry the authority of someone heaven recognizes. When you walk into rooms, energies will shift. When you speak, your voice will echo with divine frequency. You won't need to force it. You'll simply be it. Asterisk. And that is the most powerful thing you can do. Just be who you are without apology or dilution. Let this be your affirmation. I am chosen by the divine. I am aligned with sacred timing. I am a vessel of light, a force of purpose, and a walking confirmation of heaven's plan. I release what was, I embrace what is, and I boldly step into what is becoming. Now feel this truth in your bones. You are not the same person who started this journey. You've been refined, realigned, and reborn. What happens next is not just the continuation of your story, it's the activation of your destiny. The divine meeting you were promised, it has already begun. It's unfolding in the unseen, manifesting in the seen, and radiating from your very presence. You don't need to strive. You just need to show up. Asterisk. The path is lit. The heavens are open. The angels are on assignment. All that's left is your yes, chosen one. This is the hour, not tomorrow, not when you feel more prepared. Now, embrace the meeting. Step into your mission. Walk in your name and shine without shrinking. Because the world is about to witness what heaven already knew. You were born for this. Divine confirmation. Delivered. And just as you catch your breath, here it comes, the twist. This meeting was never just about you. It was about who you will lead, who you will heal, who you will activate, simply by being obedient. Your breakthrough is about to become someone else's survival. Your alignment is about to open gates for others who lost their way. So don't stop here. This is only the beginning.